Greetings, everyone. Yeah, what do you think? Rearrange things a little bit. Just, mix it up. Thought this way we can kind of get in close to a little bit more of the collection in the background. I can't really pull it back anymore, however, because I'm in a corner here. The camera's also in a corner there, so this is as far back as it gets. But yeah, hope you like it. I thought it, made a little bit more angular, cool background. I don't know. Anyway, I like it. So today, got just a little update for you. Got a DVD set and a Blu-ray, and yeah, thought we'd talk about them a little bit. DVD Blu-ray update today on the Multimedia Chronicles. Welcome back. Okay, so a couple of additions to the animation collection today. Yeah, but a couple that I've been wanting for quite some time. One of which I put off for a long time because I don't think it was even available on... It may have been available... I know it was available on VHS, but I don't think it was available on DVD, or if it was, I somehow missed it. Anyway, it's out on Blu-ray now, so I picked it up. We'll talk about that in a little bit. The other one was something that I did know was out on DVD and have been wanting for quite some time, but I kept forgetting about it. Gotta hate it when that happens. So, two very opposite ends of the animation spectrum here in terms of tone and in terms of, I guess, well, quality certainly, but in particular just in terms of, I guess, mood. So let's start with the lighter one, shall we? So the lighter one, this is sadly short-lived animated series based on a series of video games that was huge in the 90s. Just a huge, huge series of games. The third of which was actually what inspired me to pick up a 3DO. Yes, a Panasonic FZ1 3DO video game system. Which I don't think I've ever done any videos about. I should probably do some kind of 3DO collection overview or something, because I've got, a decent selection of games for that. One of which is the third game that this TV series is based on. What am I talking about? Wing Commander Academy! Yes, the one-season wonder, short-lived animated series based on the video game series Wing Commander. Most specifically, this came out around the time that Wing Commander 3 and 4 were really huge and getting a lot of press. Wing Commander 3 and 4 were notable in terms of CD-ROM games because it was one of the first CD-ROM games to feature a huge selection of A and B list actors, like almost all familiar faces in the cast. And it really set the bar for cinematic sequences and casting choices and whatnot in video games going forward. And it was so successful and so popular that they did this short-lived animated series, which basically features a lot of the same characters. Holy noisy trucks all day today. A lot of the same characters from the games in their Academy days, so you kind of get their origin story and how they first met and how they became the notable pilots that they are by the time we get to their stories in the games. So, in terms of cast, who have you got? Well, let's see if you can see this here. We have Mark Hamill as Maverick. Thomas F. Wilson, who you may know as Biff from the Back to the Future trilogy, as Maniac, and perfectly cast as Maniac, might I add. We got Dana Delaney as Archer, and Malcolm McDowell as Commodore Tolwyn. Yes, he wasn't an admiral yet in this story, so pretty cool stuff. So it's basically just 13 episodes of animated goodness spread across 2 discs. So very, very nice little set. If I only had one kind of gripe about it, and I don't think this is the fault of the release, I do recall watching a fan set of this. I actually missed it when it was originally on. In fact, I didn't even know this existed for a very long time until long after it was gone. I was like, what? They did an animated series? And it has like all the major cast members from the video game in it? Where can I get this show? Like, where? Just where? Does anybody have it? Can you give me a copy? Like, I just had to check it out. So, got my hands on a fan set and thoroughly enjoyed it. the only complaint I have, and I think this is a fault of the production, not of the DVD set. I do recall this was an issue with the original broadcast versions as well, at least the first episode, is the sound effects and music tend to drown out the voices sometimes. It's kind of annoying, in particular in the first episode. I don't recall if that cleared up later. I think it did, but the first episode in particular, it's a little bit hard to hear the characters' voices. Kind of annoying. But, yeah, but in terms of the show, really good show. If you're a fan of stuff like STARCOM, the U.S. Space Force, another obscure one-season wonder I would love to see get a proper DVD release, and Exo Squad. If you like that type of show, like grand sweeping space stories, lots of action, really interesting characters, deep plots, get this. You will not be disappointed. It is very much a continuing story. It doesn't shy away from showing the consequences of war. You know, characters get injured, characters die, characters go crazy. It's just a really, really good show, and nobody seems to have heard of it. When I actually posted on the Facebook fan page that I picked this up, everybody thought I was talking about the game, because there is a game called Wing Commander Academy as well. I had to clarify. I said, no, this isn't the game. This is the animated series that you may have never heard of, and I would not hold it against you if you'd never heard of it, because a lot of people don't seem to have heard of it. But yes, there was an animated series. If all you've experienced of Wing Commander is the movie, the live-action movie that came out in, was it 99, 2000, thereabouts, forget that, because they really changed things and messed things up in that movie. There were aspects of it that I liked. Some of the casting, certainly. I thought, you know, Matthew Lillard as Maniac was perfect. But they definitely changed quite a bit, which surprised me, because it was actually directed by Chris Roberts, who was the creator of Wing Commander. You'd think that anybody who would be able to do his own creation justice would be the guy who created it. But, yeah, for whatever reason, they made a whole bunch of changes, and it just wasn't as good. This, however, is a completely different story. This is actually very faithful to the tone and feel of the games, and the grand sweeping epic space opera style story of the games as well. The basic story, for those who don't know, is Earth is under invasion. It was basically at war with a race of cat-like aliens called the Kilrathi. Think of Klingons, but cats. They're basically a warrior race, and they really don't like humans at all. So essentially, we're at war with them, and this details the the latest up and coming recruits in the academy, and how they're trained to be pilots, and their first experiences fighting with the Kilrathi and stuff like that. And then the games, Wing Commanders 1, 2, and 3 dealt with the whole war with the Kilrathi. Wing Commander 4 was kind of interesting because it dealt with after the war, and basically a civil war that broke out, and pilots having to fight against other humans and such, and that was, a pretty big deal at that time. So they'd all been working together to fight against a common foe, and then suddenly, as soon as that foe was vanquished, things went south almost immediately, and stuff went pretty crazy. So, yeah, so there was basically 5 games in the original Wing Commander series. There was Wing Commanders 1, 2, 3, and 4, and then there was, of course, Wing Commander Prophecy, which was the 5th one, and there was a couple of side games as well, such as Wing Commander Academy, and I can't remember, there's 1 or 2 others. If you go on goodoldgames.com, GOG.com, you can find the whole collection. They actually had them on sale recently. What prompted me to pick this up was Vermin Art, who you'll, of course, recognize has done a lot of artwork for me and for the Geeky.com crew over the years. Fantastic artist. He was doing some playthroughs on Twitch of the old Wing Commander games. Specifically, he played Wing Commander 4, which is apparently his favorite one. I actually haven't played that one all the way through yet. I loved the 3rd one. Really want to play the 4th one. I actually have the PS1 version of it. Yeah. But I just haven't got around to playing it yet. But anyway, he was playing the 4th one. I was like, oh yeah, there's that show. I should get that. So I was really happy to get this finally, and also to see that it came with a slipcover. I actually didn't even know it had a slipcover. But, and especially getting it with the slipcover so long after the fact. I mean, this was released, how many years ago? This was released like 2 years ago. So, yeah, Wing Commander Academy. Pick it up if you like some outer space action there. It's good stuff. Now, next up, changing gears, coincidentally, back in 2012, we, of course, had all of this kerfuffle about the 2012 being the year of the apocalypse. We were all going to die in a fiery fireball of fire and doom and fiery doom. But, of course, those of us with actual brains knew better. But that Halloween, I decided to have a little bit of fun with it. And, boy, did it ever bring out the smart ones versus the not so smart ones in my viewership, because a lot of people thought I was being completely serious. I'm like, come on guys, I'm totally, obviously, clearly not being serious. I called 2012 the last Halloween, and you know, it was good times. It was fun. And then for my viewing choices that year, myself and some of the guys from Geeky decided to watch some notable end of the world movies. Some that I had seen before and wanted to introduce to them, and some that I hadn't seen before and just wanted to check out to kind of keep with that theme. So a lot of nuclear apocalypse stuff. And, you know, of course, that's where I watched Threads, and I talked about Threads. I still haven't watched The Day After. I need to check that out. I do have a UK DVD release that one of my viewers sent me. So, but this is one that we watched, and boy, just emotionally speaking, this just destroyed everyone. Like everyone, there wasn't a dry eye in the house. Everybody was just like an emotional wreck by the end of it. We have Raymond Briggs' When the Wind Blows. Now this just came out from Twilight Time, actually, so it is a limited edition, limited to 3,000 units. And I had heard that it was coming out on Blu-ray. I didn't realize it was from Twilight Time. As soon as I heard it was Twilight Time, I was like, oh crap, it's not in the budget, but I better buy it. So, because I've missed out, I kind of slacked on the Twilight Time stuff of late, and I've missed out on some really good ones, and I definitely did not want to miss out on this one. So Raymond Briggs is a name that some of you may find familiar. He did The Snowman, which was a very popular children's book, later made into an award-winning animated film. And then he also did the follow-up to The Snowman entitled Father Christmas, which is basically all about Santa. And the Snowman from The Snowman has a cameo in that. So around the time that he did this, shortly after he did The Snowman, he did another animated, or another illustrated graphic novel, basically, When the Wind Blows, which is kind of his statement about, well, you know, the whole fear of nuclear annihilation that all of us felt in the 80s. And also just how useless the government was at protecting its own citizens in the event of a nuclear apocalypse. So this follows the story of an elderly couple who are trying to prepare for a potential nuclear strike against Britain. And all they have to go by is this government-issued pamphlet that basically tells them how to construct a makeshift shelter and how to protect themselves from fallout and things like that. And it is just the most... It's basically like duck and cover. Put a paper bag over your head. It's like that kind of stuff. And it is just the most useless pamphlet imaginable. And this is an elderly couple. They don't know any better. And they're just taking it as read that the government is protecting them, and they follow the instructions in this pamphlet to the letter. And then, of course, you know, a nuclear strike happens, and they have to try to survive, and they're just completely unprepared to survive. So it's basically the story of them trying to survive and trying to deal with it, and you know, be there for each other, and having nothing but this useless information to go by. And yeah, needless to say, it's very emotionally heavy and incredibly depressing, but just a beautifully done film, and really worth checking out if you like a good nuclear apocalypse story. This is one of the all-time greats as far as nuclear apocalypse stories go. And it's just a fantastic film. I highly recommend this film. I'm pretty sure I've talked about it before, but yeah, I recommend it again. I really need to pick up the original book, actually. I've been meaning to pick up the book for ages. So this, you know, Twilight Time releases tend to be kind of bare bones in terms of extras. They usually just have a couple of basic things. ScreenArchives.com, the company who produces these, is mainly known as a soundtrack site. So very often, almost always, one of the extras on a Twilight Time release will be an isolated score track, and this does have that. But this actually has, and then often that's all there is. You know, maybe a booklet with it. But and then in terms of on-disc extras, there's usually not much there. It's fairly bare bones. But the movies themselves are presented very nice. They're always beautiful transfers and really well done. So this is definitely a reliable company as far as Blu-ray quality goes, but it's kind of hit and miss as far as extras go. This one, however, is definitely hit. This is pretty much Criterion level in terms of extras. First off, we'll just take a look at what's in here. We got this lovely disc art and a book with a nice little essay about the film by Julie Kurgo. I don't know who Julie Kurgo is, but you get some you get the original poster on the back, and you get some very nice pictures from the film, as well as quite a nice little essay about it and why it was, had the impact that it did, and just a little bit about the making of it and stuff like that. So very cool. Now in terms of the on-disc extras, we have of course the isolated music and effects track, and audio commentary with first assistant editor Joe Fordham and film historian Nick Redman. The Wind and the Bomb, the making of the wind blows. The Wind and the Bomb, the making of When the Wind Blows. Yeah, you don't often get a making of featurette on these either, so that's nice to see. And you also have an interview with Raymond Briggs, the original writer, artist, creator of the story. And also, as an added bonus, you have a feature-length documentary entitled Jimmy Murakami, Non-Alien, which Jimmy Murakami was the director of this, and it's interesting. They talk about this in the essay. He came from primarily a live action background. He didn't really have much interest in doing animation, and it was one of the things that's described in here is it's clear that he directed his actors as if it was a live action film, and that really comes through in the performances. And speaking of the performances, playing the elderly couple, we have Sir John Mills and Dame Peggy Ashcroft, so two very seasoned actors as the main characters, and boy, did they ever wring out every last drop of emotional weight in those performances. I mean, you really feel for these characters. I mean, they're just so well developed and likable. Just this really nice old couple, and just trying to cope with a horrible situation. And yeah. Oh, and it's got a wonderful soundtrack, actually. The theme song of which is by David Bowie. Yeah, so we have so we got the title song by David Bowie. The film score, the actual score for the film, is by Roger Waters. And then you got additional music by Genesis, Paul Hardcastle, Squeeze, and Hugh Cornwell. So, I mean, it's just a cornucopia of 80s musicians doing the soundtrack for this. This was a big deal. I mean, this was very much a labor of love, I think, for everybody involved in it. It's a powerful story, very of its time, very, just hits the nail on the head of a lot of the fears of the time. Like, if a nuclear apocalypse comes, will our government be there for us? And if so, will they be effective? And what about the people who don't know any better? How are they going to fare? Well, probably not very well. Yeah, so this is a great film. I cannot possibly recommend it highly enough. Can we put it there? Kinda, maybe, sorta. It kind of works. It's next to the skeleton, appropriately enough. Yes, that works. Maybe we'll put it down here, and then you can see it a little better. Kind of. Yeah. Cool. And that's it. That is all I got. Updates are probably going to be pretty light over the next little while, so I'm going to fill up the space with some other stuff. Probably do some closer looks at some of my sets that I've been meaning to do closer looks at forever. Still got a couple more Halloween videos I'd like to do just to kind of wrap things up. I'm probably going to keep doing... I'm going to keep the horror set up for a while yet, and you'll occasionally see some more Halloween-y videos thrown into the mix. There's still a few more movies I want to watch and review that I just haven't got around to yet. A few that I have watched that I haven't reviewed yet, so I'd like to get that done. And a few other things, a few little sort of collection-related things that kind of fit better in the Halloween set than they do in the main collection set, as it were. So, yeah, so look forward to that. And I guess that's pretty much it. So before I go, I would like to thank my Patreon sponsors, and I have to actually give an apology So sorry, man. To Fareed Farr, who is not one of the high-level sponsors, but just just regular sponsor, like most of them. But I completely forgot to include him in the list of names at the end. So I'm so sorry, Fareed. I hope this helps to make it up. You'll get mentioned here verbally and also in the text at the end. So very sorry about that. Thank you very much for your support, and a special thanks, of course, to my high-level sponsors, Kyle Pellegrini and Nikolaus Schmidt. So thank you very much, guys. There's some really cool stuff that you guys can get for sponsoring, aside from my undying gratitude. So most of them are digital. So I mean, as soon as you sponsor, you get free stuff. So get on it. Yeah, not sure what else I can say. Yeah, check out the Patreon page. Cool stuff going on there, and it's helping to make more stuff happen. I've actually got some pretty cool stuff in the works for the new year. Like, I'm already working on videos that are going to premiere starting in January. So, yeah, some pretty cool stuff coming. So, look forward to that. Alrighty, that is it from me to you for now. So, until next time, thanks for watching, and sayonara. The hell was that? Gotta hate it when that happens. There's the rest of it.